It's the summer of 2017. My wife and I are eating lunch at the Denver airport when we get an email telling us that our flight has been canceled after being delayed 3 times. Now this is important because we're laid over. We're trying to get to Las Vegas because at 4 o'clock tomorrow morning, we're supposed to get picked up by a shuttle that's going to bring us to the launching spot for our rafting trip that we signed up for months ago. It's already paid. We've been spending a lot of time thinking about what we wanted to do and what do we need to know about Grand Canyon in order to go through this trip. And we're stuck in Denver. Drastically, we're flipping through our phones trying to figure out if maybe we can rent a car and drive from Denver to Las Vegas. But that would get us there at about 3 o'clock in the morning without any other stops. That's not really going to cut it for us. Luckily, we ended up getting on some standby flight. We didn't sit anywhere near each other on the flight. We got to Las Vegas. We were stuck in the plane for what seemed like forever before we could even get off the plane. But we did finally get there. We did finally get to go on that trip. And now when we look back, we can say this was one of the best trips of our lives. Now that's not the only thing that went wrong for us. It rained on us. Somebody got wildly sick in our crew. We couldn't get out at the end. We were stranded inside the Grand Canyon. Once we got out of Grand Canyon, we couldn't get back to Las Vegas. A lot of things went wrong. When we were trying to get to Denver from Minneapolis, there was a bomb scare and we couldn't even get into the airport. But as we look back, we think this is an amazing trip. How does that happen? Well, it's all about using your money as a way to increase your happiness. Now, you might know, I've told you before, other people have said money can't buy happiness. And here I am saying that we had a nice trip that provided our happiness. What's the difference? Well, let's think about this. Right? When people say money buys happiness, they're usually talking about money coming in. Right? Income, how much money you have. That's the money that doesn't buy happiness. That's why we got the little red X through this guy's face. Outside of a certain level, more money doesn't make you happy. How you use your money can, if you do it right. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Money and happiness. So, it goes without saying, I think, but I'll say it anyways, that money does provide happiness at the low end. If you're not getting your basic needs met, of course money provides happiness. If you go from making $10,000 a year to $20,000 a year, that's going to make you a lot happier. And 20 to 40 is going to make you a lot happier. But once you get past a certain point, that levels off pretty quickly. If you aren't happy with money, if you're not happy without money, you're not going to be happy with money. So it's not the amount that we have, it's not the amount that we earn. So what is it? I want to talk to you a little bit about a framework here, the Anticipation Experience Memory Model, or the AEM idea. When you think about happiness and how we spend our money, there's 3 contributors. We anticipate our spending of money. We look forward to it. There's the experience itself. Either we bought an experience or the experience of buying something and enjoying that thing that we bought. And then there's the memory of it looking back. Now, when you buy things, this has been well researched as well. When you buy things, that doesn't buy as much happiness. Some of you might be thinking, well, that doesn't make sense. Because if I just buy something like a vacation, I don't have anything to show for it. But if I buy a television set, I have a television set. I have something, I have an asset. But here's where the paradox is. If you run it through this model, you anticipate buying that, let's use a television set. Let's say that you were going to buy a television. You can anticipate getting a new TV. Then you buy it, and you get to enjoy it for a while. But you don't really get to have a memory of it. There's no memory of you having that TV because it's always right there in front of you. You have to look at it. You have to watch it get outdated. You have to watch it fall apart. You have to watch your neighbors and your friends and your family members get new televisions. Here you have the old one. Constant reminder. You never get a memory. It's a big slap in the face all the time that you don't have the latest and greatest anymore. You did at one point. You even looked forward to getting the latest and greatest at one point. But that doesn't get to live on with you. Now, when you buy experiences, and this is that paradox, right? You don't actually get something other than like a token, a memento, some kind of a thing to take, a souvenir to take back with you, but you still get to look forward to that, say, vacation or whatever the experience is. We'll use the vacation. Then you get to have that experience, but now you have a memory of it. That stays with you forever. Now, you get here, the anticipation and experience are going to be about the same. But with an experience, you also have the memory. And we'll do you one better. Because the memory, as you get further and further from that experience, it starts to remember the good stuff and it forgets the bad stuff. Or to the extent that it remembers the bad stuff, it's almost like it turns into a good thing. You start to laugh about it and joke about it. Do you remember how angry we were at each other? We couldn't figure out a place to eat. Ha 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 ha. Right? That's how it works. So buying experiences will make you more happy than buying things. Another thing you can do is buy time. Now, if this is in your budget, you can spend your money to take things that you don't like to do off your plate. Right? So we can all get more money somehow. We can all look for a promotion. We can all ask for a raise. We can all work more hours. We can always get more money. But all of us, no matter how much we make, no matter how much we have in wealth, we all have the same amount of time. So if you can use some of that money, you can buy time. That means buying or spending money in areas that get you your time back. For my wife and me, it was buying a snowblower that can clear our driveway in 10 minutes versus shoveling that takes 45 minutes. Right, so we made a one-time purchase that saved us about 30-35 minutes every time it snows. It could be hiring a housekeeper, hiring somebody to clean your house. If you don't like cleaning your house, you can hire somebody to come in once a month, every 2 weeks, once a week, whatever fits your budget, right? Same thing with mowing the grass and doing all those other kind of things. What do you not like to do? Pay somebody else to do it, and then you can spend your own time doing something else. Buying time gives you the opportunity to have more experiences that you like doing. So buying time is a good way to buy happiness. Let's think about this AEM model. We can structure our experiences to give us the highest chance of happiness. Just knowing a little bit about how the brain works, we tend to remember the end of an experience. We remember over here. So try to end on a good note. Try to end on a positive note. Put the best part of your trip at the end. Similarly, put the stuff you don't like doing in the middle or at the beginning. The middle would be best. The middle is what we really forget. We remember the beginning. We don't really remember the middle, and then we really remember the end. So if you're having a dinner party, maybe you guys put the dishes away before dessert. So now you're ending on dessert. And that's what you're going to remember instead of how many dishes there were to put away. Alternatively, oftentimes with vacations, I keep using vacations as the easy example of buying an experience, but if you are on a vacation, sometimes the last part of that vacation can be the stuff that's the worst. You have to true up, you have to pay the hotel bill, you have to try to get back home. A couple of airports you're going to visit, or it's going to be a long drive. So maybe you can mentally stop your vacation the day before. Like in our head, Saturday. Our vacation ends on Saturday. Sunday's a travel day, but that's a whole different thing. So now we ended our vacation, technically, on a positive note. There are ways that we can use this to our advantage. And that's how we can structure our experiences to give us more happiness. You've heard of delayed gratification before. This is putting off a purchase until later. What that means is people can't wait to spend money. This proverbial burning a hole in your pocket. Now what that means is that if I get money, as I'm recording this, there's a stimulus package that everybody in the United States here is getting at $1,200 or whatever. Before we even got these checks, people were asking themselves, what am I going to spend this money on? What are you going to spend your money on? It's like we couldn't wait to get rid of it. What that means is that we're shrinking this anticipation period. But if you can delay gratification, if you can delay your purchase, if you can say, let's save up for something, or let's buy something next year, not only does that help get that decision out from your subconscious mind up to your thinking brain, but it stretches this anticipation period. So now all the rest of this is going to be all else equal, right? Experience and memory are the same, but you're giving yourself better anticipation. You're contributing to happiness in that way. Now this pain of paying, this can be used for or against us. Marketers and retailers are doing a good job of eliminating the pain of paying. We used to have to pay with cash, and we saw our cash leaving our hands. We used to have to pay with a check where we'd write a couple of times how much we were spending. No longer. Now we just tap a thing to another thing, and stuff, magic happens, and we get stuff. We have no idea how much things cost. They're eliminating the pain of paying so that we will buy more. So if you're worried about spending too much, introducing that pain of paying is helpful to get you to curb your spending. What I want to talk about here is that those situations where you're able to prepay for something. So back in this anticipation period, you can buy your vacation. Again, using vacation as the example. That's what I did in that story when I said my wife and I bought that rafting trip. We spent the time, we got a big chunk of paying back here, but then we got to plan the trip. Then we got to look at some history. We got to look at what we were going to see, what are we going to experience. And then during the whole experience, we didn't have to spend a dime. Everything was pre-purchased. We didn't have to buy every meal. We didn't have to buy every drink. We didn't have to buy every this. We didn't have to buy every that. It was all there for us. By eliminating the pain of paying intentionally, we get better experiences. Better experiences lead to more happiness. Now, what about decisions? Choice paralysis, analysis paralysis. This is the paradox of choice. If you ask somebody, would you rather have more choices or fewer choices? Most people would say, I want more choice. But the paradox is that actually detracts from happiness. If I came to you and I said, we're going to watch a movie, here's 3 comedies we can choose from, you're going to pick one. I guess either you'll have a favorite and you'll pick it, or yeah, this one we're not going to watch for sure, and of the 2, this one's good. It's good enough. That's fine. You're going to be happy with that. Now, if we open up, not even Netflix. That's the one we always use as an example. But let's say we open up our TV and we can go to Netflix and look for everything there, and we can go to Amazon and look for everything there, and we can go to Hulu and look for everything there, and we can go to Disney Plus and look for everything there. How are you supposed to make a decision? Now you're not picking between 3 comedies, you're picking between thousands of comedies. So you're giving yourself stress in this anticipation method or section. The experience will be fine. The experiences are the same, but we're also worried about that memory. This is called regret. What if I picked the wrong one? What if I picked comedy B and I would have liked comedy D better? Man, this is too complicated. This does not contribute to happiness. On the other hand, if you have few choices, there's not really a decision to make. You just pick one and move on. There's no regret. Your memory is going to be happier of the decision. That's all good things. Now, I want to talk about, if you've been following me for any time, you know that I am a systems over goals guy. I favor process over outcome. So let's say you've got a target, you've got this goal, And then you chart a path to get there. The path is your system. That's the process. The target, that's your goal. That's the outcome that you're hoping for. Now let's say you do this exercise and you pick a target that you like, you chart the path to get there, and then you get rid of that outcome, but you keep the path. What would that look like? Probably pretty good. But now you're not hung up on this outcome. So let's look at that through our framework. If you're a goals-oriented person, the experience will probably be the same. That's that process. That's the system that we're talking about. But in the anticipation stage, we've got a fear that we might not meet our goal. What if we don't? That's going to ruin our anticipation. And on the flip side, what if we don't do it? What if we miss? Now, in our memory, we're going to be chock full of the failure. Now, we might hit it, and that's good. We get some dopamine. But then that fleets, that's gone. But if we don't hit it, now we feel like a failure. Instead, if you can get rid of worrying about the outcome, right? You just follow the process. Trust the system. Now you get to enjoy the process. You don't care. You set your system up so that you win no matter what the outcome is. And that'll lead you to better and more happiness as well. Now lastly, I want to just end on this here. Rehearse negative outcomes. Let's say this is all the different outcomes that can happen. And here, this is what you hope happens. If it's helpful for you, you can call this your goal. But this is what you hope happens. Now, if that doesn't happen, how are you going to act? And what I want you to do is actually rehearse that. Think about what could go wrong. And if it goes wrong, how are you going to react? What are you going to do? Because the act of playing that out in our heads means that if and when that happens, we've seen it before. It's not going to be as stressful. We're not going to be as unhappy because we've thought about these negative outcomes ahead of time. So that's all I have for today. Got a little bit long, but if you're watching this and you've been taking notes, you're well equipped to be able to use the money that you have to live a life that helps bring you happiness. No matter how much money you have, you can use it in a way that supports the life that you want. And that's good money health.